up, so it's not going to play the theme, but it's all right. Here we go. Welcome to there we go. Welcome to the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neal.
I'm Treacherous Trista.
And we're joined by Cindy Sanabria, women of color and horror tour guide, and a lot of cool things. It's very good to have you here.
Thank you. Very glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
I've known you for a while, but this is the first time I've actually spoken with you.
Yes. I actually I promoted some of your stuff on the horror tour guide, Neal. Yeah. So and actually I believe it was kind of like in the first year that I had just launched. So I was just kind of like hungry to promote and and it's been going well. I'm very thankful to be here. I'm very thankful for my friends and supporters and my fans. And yeah, we're going on a third year now with horror tour guide. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah. When you launched that 3 years ago, what was the idea behind it?
Well, it was basically a vehicle so I can help kind of like have a platform where I can promote my own stuff and create content and help other people like underground filmmakers and indie horror people, not just filmmakers, but I just kind of want to celebrate all things horror. And that's kind of been the motto and the mission of Horror Tour Guide. And we've kind of stuck to that. And so, yeah, we still to this day, with, any horror creators, it doesn't necessarily have to be filmmakers, but we, all encompassing is what I think. So if you make sculptures and I'll show you guys a couple of things. For example, like this guy right here behind me was made by one of my fans. And also we interviewed him as well, Alexander Reynoso, and he's talented. I mean, he painted that. So yeah, a lot of creative people. I just love helping promote people. It's helped a lot of people actually. um I recently it's funny, I don't want to mention her name because she's working on a project right now, so I don't want to kind of blow that up. But so a cult classic director, she has a cult classic film. I had reached out to her about a month ago to see if she would be willing to give me an interview for both Horror Tour Guide and Women of Color in Horror, because she is a female of color in horror. And she told me, yeah, in January. So she's gonna actually be announcing her project in January on my site. But I got a email from her a few days ago, and she was like desperately asking me for a makeup artist and asking me if I interviewed him. And I said, yeah, as a matter of fact, I did. And it was a month prior to that. So I sent over his interview to her. And she was like, I've been looking for this guy. And he's phenomenal. He's worked on so many commercial films and so, yeah, I connected them over the weekend. And it's kind of funny. It's like they made that. And these are two like professional, like, very high end industry people that kind of came together and connected through the Horror Tour Guide. So, and people have gotten hired, have gotten commissioned to work, have networked with others. So it's actually a good platform, and it's been growing. A lot of people like the little horror travel blogs that I have, because like I said, Horror Tour Guide has a lot of little nooks and crannies, and so I do a lot of I travel to horror destinations, and yeah,
Interesting. Yeah.
it's fun.
Yeah. Well, for I guess people who haven't been to Horror Tour Guide, like what does the name mean then? You're touring around all of horror, like you're saying.
Yeah, it's a virtual horror tour experience. So you're touring the horror realm through us, so to speak. And so it's supposed to be like your one-stop shop for your horror needs. And you go there, and you're a gamer. There's a place, you can play free video. Everything on our site is free. We ask for donations, but but everything is offered free. We give everybody from free promo to we offer things if they're available online, and we can offer it to our fans. Yeah, it goes on the Horror Tour Guide. So it's been a really good thing. But actually now the Horror Tour experience is going to I'm embarking on a big project now with the Horror Tour Guide, and I'm very excited about it. So I mean, talk
What's,
about
yeah, you want to say that for later, or
yeah,
what
in
is
a little bit. Save the
all right.
best for last.
All right. So stay tuned.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And right now, because the world we live in, it's nice to have a virtual place to go and find these things.
Absolutely.
And
You
you
should know
mentioned,
best, Neil. You got a great thing going on here without your head.
well, thank you. It's very cool. And it's awesome that Trista joined and we went to video and it's been a lot of fun.
Amen. Awesome.
Yeah. But honestly, I don't know. I kind of always wanted to do the video show, but the pandemic kind of, made it not easier to do, but it's like now I really need something to do. So, and it also, I think it helps that gives people something to do. Takes people's minds off things for a while.
Absolutely.
That's fun. And I like what you said about, you got two people together to work on a project together. Because I think the community aspect of the podcast and the websites and really the whole horror community, to me, that's a big part of being involved.
Absolutely.
But before you started the tour guide, like how involved were you in horror?
Before the horror tour guide, I actually started the horror tour guide here when I moved to Florida because I didn't know really anybody to network in the horror realm and really couldn't find like opportunities in film, period. So I created my own. And but prior to that, I lived in California. I was living in LA for 2 years. Before that was New York. But the 2 years that I was living in California, I produced, I don't know if you've heard of the Witchcraft movies, Witchcraft. They have a whole series, and I was the line producer and co-producer of the last 3, 14, 15, and 16. They're already up there. And and I also produced and directed, produced, and shot like this. It was kind of like a spec trailer for a feature film that I don't really know what happened to that. But it just, things were going a little too slow in California for me. They weren't moving fast enough. So that's what I was doing. But I was working on a web series for a production company that I had started in New York called The Writer Scene. And I did a lot of things with Writer Scene in New York. That was kind of like where I made started to make my name as a filmmaker in New York. So a lot of people those fans and stuff, I mean, we used to pack house with our variety shows in New York. So if anybody's watching, we're on the horror tour now, but you can still get, some good stuff from that.
Did you find there's also a horror community in Florida?
I'm sorry?
Did you find there's also a horror community in Florida once you got to Florida?
Yes. I started finding them. Well, that's part of, I started branching out and really like researching and, I started finding a lot of people. I've networked with a lot of people. I started going to the horror cons, Spooky Empire. There is a horror community. It's not as populated over here as it is in like, New York and California. Hopefully it will pick up, but yeah, that's, but Spooky Empire, MegaCon, MegaCon was really big out here. Spooky Empire was kind of a little empty. But for horror fans that, they don't have to wait online, I know those Christina Ricci fans were like elated. They only had like maybe 8 people ahead of them.
I mean, there's something to say about I think for the conventions that aren't as huge because they're more intimate and it's you can actually talk to the people, a little bit longer than just waiting in line for an hour. I know it's not maybe the best money wise for everybody, but
Oh, did she freeze?
I think she may have froze.
It's a great still. She looks great.
That's
Hello?
true. Yeah, you're back. All right, you froze.
Okay. I was like, oh my God, I froze.
As Trista said, it was a great still though. So.
Oh, okay. Oh, cool.
It wasn't awkward or anything. Yeah. Trista, do you have a question?
I'd love to know some of your favorite horror movies.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I have like a fave in like every category, but I'm not gonna go that route. I would say like I'm a big 80s horror fan. I like 80s, 90s classics. I love Bram Stoker's Dracula. I love a lot of like fantasy horror, like Pan's Labyrinth. Halloween 3, I think it's underrated. I know a lot of people think it sucks, but it's actually one of my favorites.
It's always been one of my favorites. I'm glad people like it now. I remember when I was a kid, I was really like the only person. I personally think it's the best Halloween sequel.
I do too. I love it. I like Wow, there's, it's so funny. Poltergeist, like the original. I like the original Pet Cemetery. I mean, actually, I will put that up as one of my tops.
It's one of my favorites too, and it's weird. I see a lot of hate lately for the original Pet Cemetery, and I'm always dumbfounded by that because I always thought it was one of the best Stephen King adaptations. And to me, it's
Absolutely.
really
I
kind
think
of a
it's such
perfect
an
horror
excellent
movie.
film. I mean, there's so many great films out there. In terms of sequels, I would say kind of like Hellraiser, Hellbound. That's like one of my best. I like Evil Dead 2. I'm not, I love Reanimator. So I like really like creative, outrageous films. I like a lot of H.P. Lovecraft, like, adaptations, like the Beyond from Beyond. And I'm a big like foreign film horror movie buff. So Takashi Miike, I'm a huge fan. So I love all his like stuff. He's really crazy with his stuff, but like Chanwook Park. I like Martyrs. That's like French horror. I like more foreign horror than I do American horror. They have more creative control as to what they can do. You know what I mean? So it kind of give it. You can see like the vision more. They don't have a censorship the way we do over here. So yeah, like Lucio Fulci. He's like one of my faves. Demons. Told you I could go on forever.
That's good though.
Stop me at time, right?
Yeah, I know. It's
Yeah.
better than like, man, I don't like any horror movies. That would be bad.
I wouldn't even be on your show. I mean, I would think.
Yeah. Well, we've had people who don't like horror movies on the show. I'm always kind of dumbfounded by that, but
Like, yeah, I've done all these horror movies, but I hate horror.
I would think you
Now,
would.
and give
I would
somebody
think you
else
just
a chance.
lie and say like, "Well, yeah, I like horror movies."
Yeah, right.
Just name
So,
some big ones. Be like, yeah.
yeah.
I like
Oh
that
no,
stuff.
I freaking love horror. I really do.
Were your family always cool with you watching horror movies?
Actually, my mom's a Christian and her husband owns a church, so she wasn't like a really big fan of it,
Right.
to tell you the truth.
Yeah,
But
especially Hellraiser, probably.
yeah, but you know what? Believe it or not, my mom's down. She's cool. She watches my stuff. She
That's
like,
good.
I broke the mold. She watches my stuff and she supports me on a lot of things. She's given me locations to shoot at when I had to shoot my thesis, which was all horror. And it was funny because there were people in the house and they were like, oh, demon stuff going on. I'm like, no, it's just a damn movie, right?
It's not really on topic, but I was just thinking Hellraiser because lately I get all these new guidelines, which if you're on YouTube, you probably have them too, of like, and so when I put up a video, you have to check all these things like, adult, all this stuff. And on the language, they include hell and damn as light swearing. And I was like, what world are we living in? Like, then I was just thinking, you couldn't even put Hellraiser in the title of a video. Well, you can, but it would be like flagged as adult. I don't
You
know.
just
Very strange.
push the L out for the P and call it Help Razor.
Yeah, Heck Razor would be
Razor.
Heck
Yeah.
Boy, and yeah. That actually kind of make me laugh, actually. And Nicholas Vince from Heck Boy on there,
You gotta
Heck
get
Razor.
creative nowadays to get your stuff across. It's kind of, with the censorship, I think it really puts a damper on the horror community because, I mean, you know how many times I got flagged, Neal, for just posting horror movie posters or, horror jokes, you know what I mean? They just don't get it, so it kind of makes it hard for us to promote our stuff when we want to get real bloody and gory and not be censored. Damn you, censorship. Damn you, Facebook.
Yeah, Ashley here in the chat room I don't know if she censored it or if YouTube censored it, but she put HE and then it's got a, Hellraiser, but I don't know. She might have censored it to be funny. So I'm not positive.
They have like hockey sticks.
Right. Yeah.
Very
strange. Yeah.
In your emojis, you just put two little hockey sticks, double hockey stick.
Yeah. So women of color in horror.
Yes.
When did you start that page?
I started Women of Color in Horror in September, and I would say either late August, early September. And it's been growing slowly but surely, but we have a great like network of women already, like powerful women that are in the industry, like phenomenal women. I like want to give them all shout outs because that's what I do. I mean, I launched Women of Color in Horror to kind of help, celebrate, women that are in this industry that go unheard. They're doing work, they're busting their ass, they're looking for jobs, and they're kind of like, we're in like the shadows. And unfortunately in horror, women of color is like all the way on the bottom, you know what I mean? And so I wanted to like, and I kind of did a little test, like Nia DaCosta. Do you guys know who Nia DaCosta is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're very excited about the new Candyman.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's a good point, though, because people don't even, I think most people don't even know she's the director of the new Candyman.
No. And, I don't know if you guys know this, but she's also been commissioned. She just got slated. She's working currently now on Marvel 2. So she's the first Black woman to direct a Marvel film. And that's huge, So it's like, I have told this to people of color, like Nia DaCosta, and they're like, what? Like the little cookie, but it's kind of sad. And she comes from Harlem. She's like from my part of town. So I'm like, it's like there, but there's so many women like her. You know what I mean? So many women that have done so much stuff. I mean, I just recently found out of a woman of color, and I was ashamed of myself because I'm like, damn it, I like this film, and I never knew that a woman was the writer, producer, director, and a woman of color in the 80s, like, amazing. So yeah, so it's just a place right now to support group for women in the industry, not just, horror and all the subgenres. So sci-fi, thriller, any kind of like dark suspense, we kind of like welcome it all, creators, new ones, and people that are already kind of like conditioned in the industry or whatever, because they can also help others out, and we all kind of like support each other. And whenever I come across opportunities, I throw them on there. So there's like, an opportunity with Sony. There was like a Sony filmmaking competition, and, like trying to get involved with more organizations so eventually I could create like exclusive opportunities for women of color. But like everybody's free to join. It's about women of color, by, for, and about women of color. So, I mean, you don't have to be a woman of color, to be involved, but we're just kind of sticking to that mission. So it's a niche market, it's slowly building, but I mean, we have women all over. I mean, people from HBO, Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, these are all very, women that own film festivals, horror producers, like amazing stuff. Like they have films out right now on Amazon and, Netflix and stuff like that. So yeah, it's amazing. It's very exciting. I'm very excited to have launched it at this time. I mean, I can't begin to tell you the amount of women that really have thanked me for this, and women that are like higher positions in their, in their career at this point than I am. And they're really like supportive of it. And yeah, it's been good. It's been good. I keep meeting wonderful women, and it's amazing. And I just launched a website a few weeks ago. So yeah.
What's the website? What's the URL?
www.womenofcolorinhorror.com. Yeah.
Did you when you started getting into horror, like in the community and the movie wise, did you feel accepted? Did you feel any of this like that? Did you feel welcome?
Yes and no. More, and I'm not trying to be funny, but more from the men than the women. Unfortunately, I'm not going to mention names, but I have supported a lot of women that we know in the horror community, and supported their stuff. And not all of them support me quite the same. Some have been like quite shady, you know what I mean? So it's fine, but there was something, I kind of want to talk about it because I'm not trying to throw out any negativity to anybody either. I just kind of want to say, being a woman in general has been very difficult for us in the horror genre, which is why I was so excited getting into this and really reaching out to these women. And when I'm like literally breaking down doors just to promote them or feature them, I mean, free promo, and they're kind of treating me like they're Steven Spielberg, and I'm like, then it becomes a problem, And also in regards to films and opportunities, like I have seen other people kind of connect with other people, and I'm, just as talented, if not more, more experienced. And, it's like, I wasn't given that chance. I kind of created my own path. You know, I really haven't had handouts or anything like that. I break my back to get where I'm at. You know what I mean? And but I'm doing it not just for me. You know, I'm doing it to pave the way for a lot of other women that have gone through the same or are going through the same, but really, you know, can't move past the, you know, I I don't care. I'll keep it pushing. I'll voice my opinion, but some women are more on the quiet end, but they're, you know, quietly supportive. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, but there are women, you know, so it just kind of bothers me when, you know, we're all women, we should stick together and kind of help each other out, not kind of like separate each other. And now because you have a higher end, then you're like, you know, forgetting other people. And I actually have seen that in a lot of places, and that has really bothered me. And that was the purpose of me launching Women of Color in Horror. For example, I had an interview with this. She's Black and Spaniard. She's a special effects makeup artist. Can I curse? I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, she's a kick-ass makeup
I'll
artist.
just have to check swearing on. It's fine.
and she's from I believe she's from Austria, and she's like in a small little village, you know, and like she was telling me it's even harder for her because, you know, she's Black, she's a woman of color, you know, and you know, her dream is to come to, you know, America and do more work because, you know, that's where, and she said anytime she gets a job, she has to travel to another country. There is no active like film market in her vicinity. So she's struggling, and her makeup level is like awesome, you know? And you know, so I would like to eventually, maybe in the future, create like these foreign exchange programs for women here that can go out to these countries like, you know, Europe and England or China, Japan, and, you know, and eventually when all this craziness with the pandemic,
Right,
you know, and they can have these jobs and these experiences and do the same for these women out, you know, like bring these women in from Pakistan or India, or, you know what I mean? And so they also get a cultural experience, but they also, you know, they also have the experience in working in the industry and, you know, here in America. And it really does matter to a lot of, you know, people, foreigners out of this country, you know, working for America or being in America, and vice versa. There's people that want to travel out, but they can't, you know, they're lucky if they get a job that pays them for a week, maybe $600, you know what I mean? So yeah, it is a hustle. Mm-hmm. But if you love it, stick with it, right?
Yeah. Trista, do you have a comment or a question about what we just talked about?
Well, I have a different question, not about what we just talked about,
yeah,
although I do think that's a great and fascinating idea. I see in regards to filmmaking, you wear a lot of hats, you do it all. I'm wondering which is your favorite?
Over the years, I tried to like cut my responsibilities in filmmaking. I had a mentor one time that told me, and she asked me, what do you do? I'm like, I'm a writer, a producer, director, special effects, makeup artist. I'm a grip gaffer. I mean, I read it all to her, right? And she told me that in order to be good in your field, nobody wants kind of like a jack of all trades, even though as an independent filmmaker, you have to be like that. But when you're thinking commercial, they don't kind of want that. You know what I mean? So it's like, I would say more writer, director, and in some cases producer. You know, I would say that's like my major thing. I do makeup, but I'm not like the greatest special effects makeup artist. I'm no like, you know, Dick Smith or Nicotero, you know, but I can make some blood, and I've worked on some prosthetics. I could do bruises. I started, you know, doing makeup for my own films because I couldn't hire a makeup artist per se. So I just started doing that only because I was kind of like in a situation where I kind of had to do that.
I would think having the base knowledge on a lot of different things also would just help, you know, being a producer and working on a film. Even if you're not hands-on at that part, you have some knowledge about it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I produced a few films. Yeah, it's a lot of work. I mean, it's all a lot of work, but you know, hard work pays off, right?
Ashley here in the chat, she says, I honestly found more acceptance from the men as well. it's so competitive hard as women to get a leg up in film. So I think it creates a territorial environment from our female peers. Not all, but some.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
And she also asked a question here. She wants to know, she has her own film festival and wants to know, do you think there should be more judges, female judges on panels?
Yes, I think so. I'm actually getting into the whole, I was asked last week to be by a former publicist from Treacherous. He asked me to be a judge for I believe it's the Fantasy Horror Fest. So next year I'll be the judge on one of the judges on that panel. But I do feel that, yeah, a good mixture, have like a good diverse mix of men and women.
Oh, you mentioned some of the conventions in Florida. Do you also do the festivals?
I used to do more festivals when I was living in California and New York. But yes, like I did Scare Fest and well, Chiller Theater is a con, so
yeah.
But yeah, if I find it, I go.
Right, right, yeah. I've never been to Chiller. I know it's one of the oldest conventions, and
cool.
I watched we had a documentary about it in our Facebook page for Severed Limbs, our virtual film festival. But yeah, I've never been to it.
You should definitely go. I met Tom Savini there, George Romero, Eugene Clark, and I'm still friends with him. I bumped into him. I think he was I'm not sure if it was Empire or Mega, but he remembered me because I kind of see him in like every stage. Like, oh, there you go again. Kind of like Lloyd Kaufman. He's everywhere.
Yeah, and he's in every movie too.
Yeah, I love Lloyd. He's hilarious.
No, I like Lloyd.
He just made Shakespeare Shitstorm.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, and I'm halfway through the film.
Uh-huh.
Is that I think Doug Sackman worked on it because I see. Yeah.
Sure. But yeah,
I'll ask
him. He's saying that's his last movie he's going to direct.
Is it?
Yeah. We'll see. That's what he claims.
Interesting. Well, I'm gonna have to have a talk with him because he asked me to write something, and I finally started writing something for him. So I reached out to him. So I'm gonna be like,
well, I'm sure that Troma will keep putting out movies, but he himself says that he won't be directing any more.
Actually, I just connected with a girl that made 2 shorts for Troma. I'm putting her on a panel next week. Her last name is, give me 1 second. I'm sorry, I just met her. Catalina Querida. And she just made 2 shorts for Troma. She actually, if you look her up, she on Troma already. She already made a few shorts for Troma. And she's Latina, Chicana.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Troma Studios, or what do they call the place in New York?
Troma. Yeah, Troma Studios it's not by Silver Cup. It's in Queens. I met Lloyd a long time ago when I was like in film school, and I had already seen Romeo and Juliet and Toxic Avenger, but I didn't make the connection because I was still kind of like new into like all that. And I used to work for this guy named Mick Cribben that he's he's kind of like all over in the industry too. He's done sound and editing and DP work. And he had his own production house in New York City called Film Friends. And I worked there. I interned there for about a year. And I remember he asked me to go deliver some stuff to Lloyd. And I took, he gave me like this envelope and stuff. And it was like the best experience ever. Like I spent the rest of my afternoon with Lloyd Kaufman, and he was so sweet. He was giving me like the mega tour of his studios, and he brought me into some like DVD kind of library room with posters and all kind of stuff, and signed a bunch of stuff for me and gave me a whole bunch of stuff, and then asked me if I wanted to work for him. But then he was like, if you think you're getting treated bad by Mick, he was like, I'm a whole lot worse, and you're not gonna get paid.
Notorious.
Yeah, and I'll work your ass off, but you're not gonna get paid. I'm like, no, I'm good.
Uh-huh.
So yeah.
I always like there's a lot of people over the years who worked for Troma or had their movies distributed by Troma, and it's always one or two answers. Either they really got a lot out of it, or it's like the worst experience of their life. So, but I always find it fascinating that it's one or two things.
I think if you're first starting, that Lloyd is definitely a direction to go. You know, I think he's better than David Sterling. I hope, you know, I produced for David Sterling, but I did the witchcraft films for him. But David Sterling, like Troma is like the king of the low budget films on the East Coast, and David Sterling considers himself to, you know, the same on the West Coast. So, you know, but I don't know, there's something, he's a little more ostentatious, you know. And I just found out, I don't know if you guys know this, but I have to tell the story because it's hilarious. Because Lloyd has like, he's like no holds barred, this man. So I heard about a decade ago, he was promoting, if I'm not mistaken, it might have been Rabbit Grannies, I'm not sure. But he had everybody dressed as zombies. And they like bum rush cons, like the Cannes Film Festival, and he got escorted out. I mean, they literally kicked him out, and I mean, removed his film from the film festival, everything. It got like real, you know, and it's so funny because last week I was speaking to a couple of industry people that were at cons, and they're like, you know, it's not how you behave. You know, we understand, we get that he wanted to sell his film, but like, you know, so it's like, you know, he's a different kind of animal, but he doesn't give a damn. And I like, you know.
Yeah, my opinion is that it really depends what you're trying to get out of your work with Troma. If you're doing something with Troma thinking you're going to get money, like a lot of money, you're probably gonna have a terrible experience. But
yeah, do it to have fun if you're gonna do it, and expect not much money. Don't expect much money when you do, you know, but it's gonna be a great experience. He'll get it seen. He'll do, you know, he still has great marketing and promotions, you know.
Yeah, a friend who made the movie Bloody Banjo came out a couple of years ago, and he said his film school was working on a Troma movie. So he worked on a Troma movie, he didn't get paid, he slept on the floor, but he watched the production and learned how to make a movie while he was, you know, on set. And I was like, you know, he said he didn't go to film school. He learned to make a film working with Troma. And I was like, you know, he got something out of it.
Eli Roth started with Lloyd. You know, there's a lot of
James Gunn. And that's why he's in James Gunn. He always has a cameo in the James Gunn movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It all depends what you're looking for. But I also know I was friends with Joel Reed, who made Bloodsucking Freaks, and he says he totally robbed him from the movie, out of the movie. So there's, I just go by.
Some people love him, some people hate him, right?
Trista, you have another question?
I know things are a lot rather, different this year with COVID, obviously, but I'm wondering if you did anything special for Halloween.
I did. I went to there was like a Oviedo Mall, so I recently became friends with Rick Gonzalez. He's a special effects makeup artist. He was on Savini's team with Day of the Dead, and him and his wife, they own his wife owns like a costume shop out in the mall out here, and he invited me over, and we went, and he made my daughter into a zombie, and it was really cool. Like right next door, they had there was a lot going on. Actually, we were there for hours. I mean, they came home with so much candy. I still have candy in my bag. You guys want some?
I take
yeah, and
I
there was
zero trick or treaters. Yeah.
They had this theater. There's like this theater company in the mall, and so all their students kind of like made like this virtual horror. I kind of walked through. It's like, you know, it was really cool. It was really cool. They staged like Maleficent, and they had a couple of people in there. It was really cute, and it was like a free walkthrough. Everybody was like really supportive during the Halloween this year. I'm so happy because I didn't have any expectations. I wasn't gonna go to Screamageddon or Busch Garden. I mean, some of those theme parks are open, but
yeah, it doesn't seem too wise, I don't think. But
no, and I'm a huge fan of Halloween Horror Nights. I mean, I cried, you know, because I had a season pass this year and since last year, so I was like really no. But they're smart about it, you know.
Yeah. I usually go to this 12-hour horror movie marathon in Brookline, and it's from midnight till noon the next day. This was the first year I didn't go. They actually still did it, but they did it outside, not as a drive-in, just outside. And this is New England, and it snowed, and it looked kind of fun, honestly. But I don't know. I don't think sitting outside in the snow for 12 hours sounds like the best idea.
Yeah.
Even without the pandemic, I don't think it sounds like the best idea.
No, not for 12 hours.
No, it's like a 2-hour movie, maybe, but 12 hours. Because they did it on Friday the 13th, too. They showed 2 movies. I thought about going, but I chickened out. I thought it'd be too cold.
Where exactly is this?
Brookline. It's near Boston.
Okay.
Everyone will just say Boston. If you don't know, if you're not from Massachusetts and people say Boston, they're probably not Boston. They call everything within like 2 hours of Boston. But there's many. I like Rock and Shock. They say it's Boston. It's not. It's Worcester. It's an hour and a half away from Boston. It's out West Mass. But that's just a pet peeve of mine that everyone calls. I guess it's not just Boston though, because I've been to conventions. They'll say so and so Chicago, and it's in Schaumburg, which is not Chicago. Or I've been to one that was in Seattle, and it wasn't Seattle. It was like the suburb of Seattle, and it was like an hour away. But Atlanta, same way. I've been to a convention. So was Atlanta, and it was in Peachtree City, and it was Peachtree City. They're known. It's the capital. It's the golf cart capital. So it's all these very elderly people. Nothing against them riding around in golf carts, but it's not the best environment for a horror movie convention.
Areas in Florida,
right? The people weren't like really into it. I can't blame them, but
I love those marathons. There's not so many places that do it. There is when I used to live out in LA, there was like this theater in Santa Monica, and they held an event twice a year, and it was like one of the most amazing like all-nighters that I've ever been to. And I mean, by the end of the night, like it's packed when you first get in there, and
and people leave throughout,
like 30 people. We're like, we survived, and we're leaving with like DVDs and posters and all
it's
this
funny you
junk.
say that, because Coolidge After Midnight's a company that does it at Coolidge Corner Theater in Brookline, and they give out these pins. I survived the marathon if you make it through the whole night.
That's so cool. I love that stuff.
Yeah, it's very fun. They do a double feature. They always have 2 like movies that are like the headliners, and then the rest of them are surprise movies, so you don't know what they're going to be. So a lot of people leave just after the first 2 movies, which is kind of strange.
Yeah, right. Or I think people come in because they gave a schedule of all the movies. So I would see people come in at about 1 a.m. to, watch like a movie or 2 and then leave. That's cool.
Yeah, they usually have some kind of theme. This year it was werewolves, so it would have been fun to watch a bunch of werewolf movies out in.
That's awesome. Yeah, especially because we're in such a shortage of them. I don't have that many good werewolves. Yeah,
I didn't even see what I know they played Howling was one of the features. I think it was Howling and American Werewolf in London, but I don't know what the rest of them
default. Those are the default werewolf films. I mean, we all know that it's like great, but like
Yeah, well, that's what they do. They have 2 headline films, and then the rest are surprise ones. So, which is kind of fun. You don't know what's coming. And then if there's one maybe you don't want to watch, you can take a nap.
Have you seen Wolf Cop? I found that like actually entertaining. I didn't think I avoided the movie for a really long time until I seen it, and I was like, it's all right.
Yeah, no, I like it too. Do you have a favorite werewolf movie, Trista? Besides, I guess the major ones.
I like Silver Bullet.
Yeah, I like Silver Bullet too.
That's a good one. Yeah. Bad Moon is another one.
Bad Moon's a good one. That's an underrated one. I like the dog in Bad Moon.
It is. I'm not a big fan of the transformation in it because it's some like weird morphing thing, but I love the premise. I love the story on it, and I love like the heroic dog that
Yeah, the dog's awesome.
It's like so awesome. It's like
Hercules.
I think so.
I think so too. I had him when we did a list of favorite animals in horror. I had him on my list because it's a great movie.
Aw,
it's so nice cute to see the dog as the hero in the movie.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, there's not really been a lot of werewolf movies lately. You get a lot of zombies and clowns. I like
How? Have you heard of that one? HOWL. Should take a look at that one. That one's it's a British werewolf horror. They're like on a train or something. It's pretty.
Oh, really?
I liked it a lot actually. I like their werewolves too. They were kind of creative in like switching them up too. They didn't all look the same.
Mm-hmm.
But that was good. And I seen another one recently too. I can't remember the name, but I thought that one was pretty okay too. They're getting better slowly but surely.
Late Phases is a recent one. That was pretty good.
Oh yeah, that's it.
With the old vampire, with the old werewolf.
That was okay. Wait, is that the one with Jason Momoa? No, there's another one with Jason Momoa. Mm-hmm. Wolves with Jason Momoa that he's.
But Late Phase is interesting. It's about, that's why it's called Late Phase. It's about like an older werewolf.
Man. Yeah. Is it the old man that he's like blind or something?
I don't know if he's blind, but he's an old guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's good. It's interesting. It's a little different take. Ashley says she agrees with Trista about Silver Bullet.
All right.
And she also had Teen Wolf. What was that?
I like Cycle of the Werewolf too. Teen Wolf.
Oh, cool. Wolf. Wolf was one of my favorites. Where Jack Nicholson and Michelle Pfeiffer, because he they executed that. His acting is so awesome. He's so phenomenal, that man. And that they didn't really.
He's gonna make it
in terms of like transformation on him, and he still like embodied that wolf. He still owned that shit. He's awesome.
I know I'm in the minority, but I actually thought the remake of The Wolfman was good too. That's not my favorite, but I thought it was good.
The Benicio del Toro one?
Yep.
I like some of the transformations in it. I didn't like the way they made Anthony Hopkins look. He reminded me of like a big teddy bear at the end. It wasn't scary at all. But some of the transformations were good. I mean, it was a great cast too. And Benicio del Toro, he's Boricua too. He's Puerto Rican. Benicio.
Ashley says she also likes Ginger Snaps.
Oh, good one. Good one, Ashley.
And Cursed with Christina Ricci. I'm not sure I've seen that.
I've seen that one. I just recently seen that. I thought it was okay. I like that one too.
I like the werewolves and dog soldiers. They look cool. I like a bipedal werewolf.
I didn't like Dog Soldiers the first time I watched it. I'll admit that. But giving it a go the second time around, I was more accepting of it, and it wasn't as bad as I remembered it the first time. I'm like, you know what? This is okay. This is actually all right.
I like the Frankenstein behind you, as Trista.
Oh, thank you. You can get one. Alexander Reynoso. He's an amazing artist, and he just doesn't. He's a portrait artist, so he has an amazing talent. He did he has like a time-lapse video that I posted in his interview. Amazing, where he takes a door and he kind of like makes all these like zombies like trying to break out of the door. It's so cool. He's very talented, man. Very smart guy with that paintbrush.
Very cool. I'll look him up after.
Yeah. I would like to give a shout out to is this gonna be like playable afterwards?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Actually, right after we end, it'll be right on YouTube.
Oh, okay, great. No, because I recently received this a few weeks ago by another artist. I just gave her this is so amazing. I don't know if you could.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it is. It's beautiful.
It's
I love the colors.
An artist from Hungary. She's amazing. Her name is Vivian Zanzalova, I believe. It's very hard for me to pronounce her last name, but anyway, I'm trying to get this just came to me, so I'm trying to get a proper framing for it. But she's amazing, absolutely amazing. You have to see her stuff, and her work is so colorful, and it's like dark expression, and it's beautiful. Anyway, so I wanted to give her a shout out too. I love you guys. You see, when you send me stuff, I give you guys shout outs,
That's good. It's a good way to get it sounded bad. I was just saying it's a good way to get free stuff, but that's how I'm thinking.
I've known Alex since we were in school. Okay. I was like in 6th grade. So
okay, that's very cool.
Her, thank you. For him, he owed me one.
So what is the announcement? What's coming up?
Yeah, I got some good stuff. All right, so I am going to start a I'm going into production next year in February on horror tour guides, uh, a horror travel documentary, and it's I'm really excited because I've been doing all this blogging and stuff like that, and people have actually asked me if I had any videos, and like people have been, and sometimes I do, but I've never really officially made like, you know, a horror travel doc. So actually, it's gonna be a two-parter. I'm doing a horror travel doc and a horror travel series, and so yeah, so I'm very excited about that. I go into production in February. I think we're on Indiegogo. I'm not sure if the whole campaign officially launched, but it should definitely launch by tomorrow. I know we were like in the process of still adding like perks and stuff like that, but look for Horror Tour Guide, please, 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 please support this so I could bring you guys a virtual horror tour right in your home. You don't have to go anywhere. I'll bring the horror destinations to you, and you will have that horror tour experience, and it's gonna be fun because I could get a little loquita, little, you know, and do some like horror dancing and introduce you to some like horror celebs and have some great horror experiences. And I found some great destinations. I've been in talks with a lot of people. I got a lot of I got some good stuff. I don't want to like, blow up any of the destinations at this point, but you'll be seeing a lot, and the public will have a chance to vote on at least 3 horror destinations that so you'll see some of the places that I have in mind, but there's some that's only going to be exclusive for those platforms. So you'll have to wait for that to come out. So I'm really excited about that. I'm currently in development, writing a script for a paranormal feature next year. I don't want to like give these away because I've already had 2 of these actors confirmed, but they confirmed on another project. So I don't want to say their names, and they're like, wait a second, you didn't tell us anything about that. But hopefully, um, I should get these 3 like these 3 actors, and you've seen them. They've done many things in film, and it's gonna be cool and scary. And I'm working with I have plans to work with a video effects team out in Canada. They're amazing. So yeah, I'm actually watching one of the films now. It's like a French film that they worked on. It's called The Little Girl Who Was Fond of Matches. It's not a horror, but it's a pretty dark film, and it's a little bit disturbing actually. But it's
Oh,
about a girl that has a twin sister that she's a pyro, so she has like a problem with playing with matches, and she sets her sister on fire, and her sister is like now hideously morphed into like this creature, like burnt person, unfortunately. And it's from what I hear, it's very tragic for like the little girl, but then she actually grows up like that, and it's a big thing. So I started watching it, and I was just like, whoa. So it's a deep film, but these people are really good. They won 2 Academy Awards last year for best visual effects in a film. They do animation as well, but they're not cheap, and I'll be doing a lot of fundraising. I might have to get some financial backing to really bring it up to the budget that I want, because it's not going to be a cheap film to make. But fingers crossed, I'm making like the right connections. So hopefully it'll go well, and I'll be in production on that next year. So yeah,
very
and
cool.
that one's very exciting. And yeah.
So the tour guide documentary, that would be like a series.
2. So I'm doing a horror tour guide documentary. So it's gonna be like an hour to an hour and a half special, featuring featuring things in haunted Florida, so I could give that away. The series is going to be more like 5 to 10 minute, maybe shorts. If I do it that short, then it'll be on a platform like YouTube or Vimeo, so kind of like a shortened version. You're not going to see the same stuff on a documentary that you're going to see on a series, but I'll definitely make it entertaining nonetheless. If I go longer, then it may be on a series that you might see on the Chiller channel, maybe, or El Rey, or something like that. We shall see. I don't know yet.
Yeah, I mean, I've had people tell me that's the way to go with new projects is series with the rise of streaming platforms because they all need content.
Yeah, definitely right now that's the way to go. And since I want to try to see if I can get my stuff on VOD, um, yeah, so that's kind of like what the mindset is, and I'm actually making a project for that exactly. So maybe like Netflix or Hulu or someone will pick it up. Um,
There's a lot of them out there, and those are the big ones, and then there's, like you said, lots of other ones too that all need
Netflix had
all
one.
need
Netflix had this horror tour guy, the Dark Traveler or the Dark Tourist. That was his name, and he was from England, if I'm not mistaken. He was like a British guy that had like, but he like had like these weird horror fetishes, and
right up my alley.
yeah, no, I don't think you want to go to like Chernobyl and like in a high radiation zone to just be like, I've been here, I did that, like, nah,
No.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. They were like in Fukunawa actually, and the radiation levels were higher than the levels in Chernobyl. And he
Oh,
did
really?
that. Yeah. He went to oh, what's his name? I keep forgetting. Russ McCamey, if you know McCamey Manor.
Yeah, I had him on the show, and it's for years it would be the most downloaded every week, even years after I'm on the show, and it was insane. The people who called in, let's talk about Lloyd Kaufman. This was worse than that. There's people called in who loved the guy, thought he was like the master, and people called in wanted to like kill
Yeah.
him. So yeah,
He definitely has a yang thing.
I don't know how I feel about the guy myself. So
Yeah, I did a podcast on both him and with Holly Sailor when he was like involved with Holly. And actually on my YouTube, she's on my horror tour guide on YouTube. Her interview is actually has the most hits, more than David Howard Thorne, more than everybody. She's like 50, 60,000. And Russ McCamey is like about 15, 20,000 hits or something. But yeah, Russ has been trying to get me forever to go to that. I just recently had a
yeah, he asked me too after Adam. I was like, "There's no way." I could see how people, because he is a charismatic guy, and I could see how he could talk people into.
Oh yeah, he has the gift.
I'd have no intention of doing this, but I could see I find him fascinating. I can't necessarily say I like him, but I do find him fascinating. He doesn't do it for money. He says he doesn't enjoy
That's BS.
There has to be something to him that he likes to see people
he committed his life to that. His life to that. So I mean, and then I don't know. He revealed his secrets on my podcast on what he does, and I found that a little when he said shot that he shoots people with some kind of something to make them.
Oh really?
Yeah, that's what I was just like, is that even legal? Like you
There's a lot of things I'm not sure about the legality. Like I know people sign a waiver, but
that petition.
You can't sign a waiver like you can rip my teeth out or something. I don't know.
Oh no, there's a petition, an online petition going on. I don't know if it reaches max yet, but there were like people like really like advocating to get them off. So they have like, I think they were trying to raise 250,000 votes, and they actually were close to that when I seen it. And he didn't even know about that. Like, I was like, I would like to get an interview to see like the controversy and all that stuff like that. But then I bumped heads with his like new assistant. She's such a bitch. And so I kind of like called her out, and then Russ wanted me to, apologize. So I was like, dude, come on. Like, no. Like,
no, he's very sweet with animals.
He is, yeah. Because that's what you have to do to even do it. You have to donate like cat food.
Yeah, and he's very good with his dog. And I've met him a couple of times. He's very sweet, but he scares me.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I've talked to him a lot. I've never met him in person, but I've talked to him a lot on the show and off the show, and I find him a very fascinating guy. And there's a sweet. I could see how he could talk you into doing things. So I'll just leave it at that. But yeah. I could see him doing much worse things if he wanted to with his powers.
He told me he tried to bring it to New York, and like the commissioner was like, "Yeah, you're not bringing him." He was like, "I couldn't even get to the book. Like he couldn't even get into the state. They was like not trying to have it, so they shut him down before he had a property and everything already, like ready to open up shop. And like 3 days before he launched it, they were like, nope, not in New York. Yeah.
Yeah, I find him fascinating. I'll say that. Yeah, he's nice to me, so whatever.
And I find the ladies in his life fascinating. I found his wife very fascinating as well.
But his wife, his ex-wife.
He was married.
Oh, his ex-wife. Yeah. Oh, there's crazy controversy between them two. Like, it's hers, and he said that she stole from him, and he said that, and they posted courtside. They get ugly. They get ugly publicly. But I never met her personally. Someone said that they interviewed his son, and he didn't say like really nice things about Russ. And Russ kind of said that he said that it's like the wife's fault, and there's like kind of like still kind of drama between them. Honestly, I love Holly. I thought she was so sweet, and I thought she was so like such a bubbly thing in this whole equation. But then he even like put her through that craziness, and I don't know. She's not around anymore, but I really did like her. Yeah, Russ is okay. Like personally, it's not a love or hate thing. It's just kind of like, he does what he does and whatever. I mean, like, you can't really blame him too much because you have people that are willing to do it. So it's like, everybody's kind of giving him, not saying that I condone what he does. I think it is kind of very sadistic.
I think it really, you can really discuss, like, is this good? Is it right?
Yeah.
I see both sides of it. I find it interesting and fascinating.
It absolutely is, but you have to also remember there's like a market for that. And just like there's a market for the people that are attracted to him, like he's a sadist and they are masochists. They want to get tortured. They know they're going in there. You're going in there to get like a shit tattoo or your hair cut off or, teeth removed. I mean, who the hell would want to do that? Like some people just don't care. Or they feel like, oh, I saw this one where this girl, she was this guy, or was it a guy that he was dying of cancer? And like, he went through all this stuff and he was just like, this is what I want to do. And he only had like about 6 to 8 months to live. It was kind of sad, but it was like, I guess, and in his way, I could kind of see why he wanted to do it. He wanted to feel alive, but at the same time, I'm like, I feel so bad for him because he also has cancer and Russ is like not giving a shit. You know what I mean? He's just like kind of acting like he is, but still putting him in these situations. And, it's just, I don't know. Or the girl that did have cancer, or she just, recovered from it and she begged him not to cut her hair. And because he didn't put that in a contract, he's like cutting her hair. That pissed me off. That really made me upset. And, and she was crying and stuff like that.
Yeah, I can't watch it. I can't watch the videos.
Yeah, some of them, I mean, I can. Some of them are super extreme, but like it does really, I can understand why people, get the reactions that they do when they watch this video because it is sad. And it's like, on one end of that scope, they've agreed to that, and if you've seen those videos by now, you should know what you're getting into. I mean, at one point, he was very discreet about it. It was all like, what the hell's going on? You get like little snippets. When he was out in California, I almost did his tour. And the only reason why I didn't do it is because the person I was with said, if he puts me in a casket, I'm going to freak out. And he's like,
I think he even finds out like the things that do freak you out the most.
Yeah. And I said, oh yeah, best believe that might be under contract too. So we decided not to do it. But I was like, I have a problem with people touching me. If I'm in a haunt and you're like, you're making me drink like sewage water or something. I mean, the stuff he puts these people through, or putting scorpions, I would die. I really would. Just the thought of that, it just makes me cringe. Oh my God.
Yeah, no, I don't know how he can. I'm built so opposite. Like if I had someone in my basement and I was watching video and they were like, "Let me go," I'd be like, "Oh my God, come out!" Like,
right.
It's okay. Like nothing in me.
I physically wouldn't be able to do that. Yeah.
I don't get the I come back.
And like you said, he seems so sweet.
Understand it.
He seems so sweet. You wouldn't think he'd be able to put up with.
Did he ask you on a tour, Trista?
He didn't ask me, but I met him in person, and he's so sweet. Like you guys say, like he's just like he seems so sweet, and also like
I like to.
worry about his and he collects animal food. Like that's a really great thing. And like he seems very sweet about his dogs, but I can't relate. I know he was in the service, so you know.
The Navy. That's how he started his hunts and stuff. He started on like the naval ships, and he was like commissioned to do all these like Halloween hunts and stuff like that. I love like how he got started in it, but it looks like he took it really extreme once he got off that ship, you know. And he was like, in San Diego, he was doing some crazy things. I mean, people with broken bones. On my show, he admitted that somebody died. And that was kind of creepy. There was some woman that drowned in one of his like things. So yeah, I don't know. It's like when it gets that far, you know, I don't know.
What Trista said there is really the main reason I find him fascinating, because I try to understand his point of view. Even if I watch a horror movie, I always try to look at try to understand the villain and try to, in a way, like in my own mind, like, hey, maybe you could somehow, you know, find a middle ground with this villain, even though I know it's a movie and everything. But like, I try to do that with, and I can't wrap my head around this guy. It seems very sweet and nice, being okay with like people in like pain and anguish. I can't wrap my head.
It hurts me.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even watch those videos. And
beyond the physical pain, I think the mental anguish is worse. You know?
Oh, and he hates cursing. So if you like you curse in his heart, he's like, you just said the D word. It could have been that. We don't say that. And oh my God, he's now you get to do 500 more push-ups with that tire in your mouth, you know.
Right. I'm not comparing him at all to Bill Cosby. I'm just putting it out there. But Bill Cosby was a guy that was very anti people swearing in comedy, and you know, it turned out he was doing a lot worse things.
Maybe behind closed doors he liked that.
You know, Mark Savage, who we've had on the show, he makes pretty extreme films. And his mother, every time he screens them for his mother, the only thing that upsets her is if a character swears.
It's really funny.
I didn't curse so much.
That's why there's that rule on YouTube. Hell and damn.
That still doesn't.
Too far. Yeah.
I wonder if you could get away with it. I wonder if there's like upside down hockey sticks. I mean, upside down hockey sticks.
I mean, you could do it. You just have to click a thing saying that. Right. It does not let you do the hashtag. You won't even put them up there, because you can do the hashtags on YouTube, so they show up on your video. I've noticed even some strange things. Like I tried to put hashtag people under the stairs, and it wouldn't accept that. And I was like, it's like people under the stairs. You can't hashtag. I don't understand.
What I recently found out is that is it February or March of 2021, there's like, okay, so right now, like YouTube and all these multimedia platforms so everything that people like post or whatever is kind of like under their liability insurance. So right now there's like this awkward backward law that as long as I don't know what you're posting, then you're protected, you know, for like, and this can go with, you know, like copyright infringement and, you know, and whatever, like, you know, so now, but because they're taking wind of that, and like the government like really got on these multimedia platforms, especially with everything that's been going on from, you know, everything this year, that they basically said that they are going to be liable 100%. So what YouTube did was kind of and Facebook is doing it too, they kind of took a jump ahead to start cleaning up shop. So that way, when the time comes, you know what I mean, that they, you know, they kind of like already have already set the rules in place. So there's not like, because if they start when that ban starts in February, then anytime something like that pops up, they're going to be in court and they're going to lose millions, you know? So it's kind of like protection for themselves. Like Instagram still looks like they don't give a damn, but, you know, but there are still like, you know, certain platforms that, yeah, you're not allowed to. I guess if you have children that can go on it.
That's a big thing on the YouTube is you have to like check everything. It comes up every time you put. I just put that the whole channel's not for kids because you have to put.
Yeah,
It's a real like. Is this suit? Is this? It's not even suitable for kids. It's is this made for kids?
mm-hmm.
Which it's kind of weird to me because I could see you could mark it's not suitable for kids. I understand that, but you have to mark if it's specifically made for kids. So I just put no, nothing on the channel is made for kids.
Yeah.
The whole
I
channel is
haven't
not made for
posted,
kids.
like really anything lately on my YouTube, but like, you know, as a mom to a kid, you know, I don't, I'm not 100% against that, you know what I mean? Because I noticed that there have been things that, you know, that pop up, you know, when you have kids, you have like a lot of backward people that will use, you know, animation, like things that entice children visually to get them to click. And I mean, even it could even be their favorite characters. And next thing you know, like, you know, 20 seconds in, they're cursing, they're having sex, they're, you know, doing like weird things. And these are cartoons, you know? And so I don't mind the censorship to some degree. I just have a problem when you know specifically, you know, there are things that kids shouldn't be on. You know what I mean? So I think that it should be really more the responsibility more of YouTube to block those kids from accessing any of that from their site. You know, it's like they're holding you responsible, but you're doing it on their platform, so they're just as responsible, you know? I don't know. I like I love to see like, you know, my horror stuff, but I do feel like there is things there that, you know, that shouldn't be up there for kids either, you know, but it's a thin line for me sometimes because I mean, like I love 80s horror, 90s horror, and there's a lot of, you know, especially like 80s, I mean, they used to exploit women a lot in those films. So you will see nudity. I mean, like almost every film has a woman getting naked on her way into the tub or out the tub, getting dressed or, you know, putting on
Not
clothes.
even just that, there's a lot of not even just horror, but there's a lot of I noticed when I was watching some there's a lot of like slapping of women that just seems like totally normal in like a lot of 70s films.
Oh,
Like I
yeah.
watched Deer Hunter recently and he punches his wife at the wedding and it's almost done as like as a laugh scene and it's a serious movie and stuff but there's no like no one in the movie is like wow you shouldn't you know hit this woman he just literally just punches her in the face.
Wow.
Purple
It's
Rain
very strange.
too. Do you remember that in Purple Rain? Prince just like slaps Apollonia like it's
Yeah, and I watched Carrie recently. There's a lot of people just slap like Travolta slapping his girlfriend in the car, and it's really just it's not even like wow that's horrible. It's a horrible guy. It's just like something like a normal person would do. You know, slap the hysterical woman or something.
Well, men did have like a certain degree of control over women more back then, you know. And yeah, I mean, girls used to. There was a lot of women that you know that were deemed insane because they just spoke up. They tried to defend themselves, or they, you know, they didn't agree with something, or they didn't listen to their husbands, and then they were like in these psychiatric, you know, institutions getting like pulverized with electricity and yeah. So I mean, women have come a long way, you know. Yeah.
yeah, lady hysteria, right? That's what they call
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, hysteria is directly involved with women, right? The other, this is kind of like off topic, but kind of on. There was it the yellow wallpaper? I can't remember who that author was, but it's about that. It's about a woman that so basically what they used to do back in the days was that when women would have children, their children would be taken from them immediately. So they didn't have any contact because they automatically assumed, you know, the postpartum depression was going to lead to insanity or whatever. So they weren't even allowed to be with their children and their children were taken away. And these women were locked in rooms, isolated to kind of go over their, you know, their natural hormones. And so this story is about that. It's about a woman that was like locked in by her husband. And, you know, she had a baby probably like a month prior. And all the reason why that it's called the yellow wallpaper is she was in the room with yellow wallpaper and it drove her insane to the point that she like, I guess her moment of like liberation to some degree is actually ripping the wallpaper. Like, it's it's a very deep story. And I'm not sure if this is the same lady, but in actuality, that woman that wrote if it is the same, I don't want to confuse my writers, but if it is, then this woman committed suicide. And she was a woman during these times, and I think that story was based on her own experience. So women went through a lot, and yeah, and continue to do it.
So where can people find all your websites and your pages?
Okay, so definitely follow me on I'm on Instagram and Facebook mostly. If you go on if you come to www.horrortourguide.com, you'll be on my site, and you can go into the blog section. There's haunted history. Those are my haunted travel blogs. I have the interviews. We have a lot of like killer interviews with some great like celebs and stuff. You can follow me on Instagram at Women of Color in Horror 1 on Instagram. I am trying to build those numbers up. I know it's a niche market, but like on Instagram, it's so hard to like, try to bring recognition to that. And I'm really trying to build that up. We're doing well on Facebook, but and we're on the other platforms as well. But I'm really just kind of it's a hustle when you have to like self-promote.
Instagram weird is really a visual page.
Yeah.
I'm not really a big fan of Instagram, but I understand this world. You have to have social media for all your different projects.
I know. And so Horror Tour Guide and Women of Color in Horror, www.womenofcolorinhorror. If you're, if you have a film or a project involving women of color in horror, if you just want to come and support us, you're more than welcome. I mean, I don't discriminate if you're not, you know what I mean? Everybody's welcome.
Yeah, because I want to tell the audience, I'm not a woman of color.
Oh, no shit. You had me fooled, Neal. You're good. Good. But yeah, no, totally come and support the ladies there and see some amazing things. And, who knows? I mean, maybe one day you can use one of these ladies. I mean, Neal, you have like some good women there you can like, reach out to and reach out to them. Sure. I'm going to be speaking at a panel at the New York Horror Film Festival in December. So everybody that is a member of Horror Tour Guide, or you can sign up for free, or follow me if you're interested. I'm giving everybody, we got a little sponsorship from them. Well, they're giving us a big discount for anybody that's interested in participating, and the panels are free. And film festival, go virtual. I mean, they're doing it. We got to support them, because they're trying to support filmmakers. So it's kind of like it all goes down the line, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's like the fans are at home, they want to go out, but if they're bringing the entertainment to you, then do it. You're in the comfort of your home. You can be barefoot and drinking and be sitting in the audience,
Mm-hmm. So yeah. I mean, that's the main thing I miss is film festivals and going to theater. Virtually, obviously, I would rather be in the theater, but we can't at the moment. And virtually is very fun, and it still has some interaction when you do things virtually. So definitely support that.
Absolutely, thank you so much. Too.
Yeah, it was very good to see you, sort of in person, and talk to you.
Thank you for having me. And Trista, it was a pleasure meeting you, sweetie.
Thank you, likewise, and congratulations.
Thank you.
On all your upcoming endeavors. It's a lot. We're very excited for you.
It's a work in progress, but it's coming along, and it's a great thing. I'm having a lot of fun, and definitely join us and enjoy the fun with us. Okay, one thing before you go.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Keep seeing that picture. Is it Dolly or Lloyd behind you?
Oh,
yeah, it's Vincent Price, but it does look like Salvador Dali. I know. If only he had like a long scene.
It's the way he's looking. He was much older. Now I could see it is Vincent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, is that like Lloyd being funny, or is that like bouncing away, but he's missing the mustache?
What if I was like, that's my dad?
I was like, man, your dad's pretty badass.
Well, guys,
Get
thank
your
you
dad
so
on the show.
having
Yeah.
me. And
Thank you. Stay safe.
please, this week, please, the Indiegogo campaign launches for Horror Tour Guide, and yeah, please support, and it's gonna be great, guys. I'm gonna work on some perks, some good perks for you guys, and yeah, it's gonna be fun. Thank you so
Very
much.
cool. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Be scary.